You're listening to the RE Social Podcast with your hosts, Andrew and Vince from OnV Invest. For more information, go to onvinvest.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of RE Social Podcast. Today we have a local, Johnny Wolff. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, really good to be here, man. Really good to, and nice to be talking to some other folks in Southern California.
Yeah, I know most people think we can't do business in California, which is mostly true, but we still manage to. For people who don't know who you are, dude, can you give like a 90-second intro of what do you do?
Yeah, sure. So my company HomeRoom helps people invest in homes remotely and rent out each room separately. And our goal for each home is to capture at least 50% more rent than they would if they rented it out as a single family home. So I started my real estate career in California and moved to Austin 2015, invested in a number of homes and rented them all by the room. And it went really well for me. And so I had friends asking me how to do that for themselves. And so I moved to Kansas City to do another portfolio and started HomeRoom so other people could invest in room by room rentals.
Dude, that's awesome. Maybe we should use that for my house right now. I have 4 bedrooms. And nice. Is it, what's the website? Is it Live Home Room or something?
Yeah, livehomeroom.com.
Yeah, cool, man. And so like PadSplit, is that your biggest competitor?
They're our friends. I mean, we like them. But I guess competitor. Yeah, there's a few players in the space. And PadSplit, I'd say, is the biggest in the space. And there's a few others. But yeah, that would be, there's Alcove out of North Carolina. I think June Homes out of New York, and Bungalow is kind of in California. But a lot of those other players have gone far away from the private real estate investor and moved into institutional investors. So PadSplit and us, we're sort of the two that are really focused on the smaller portfolios.
That's cool, man. So do you guys do anything differently than PadSplit, or is it the same as different markets? I don't even think they're in Orange County. I know they're in LA, right?
I don't think PadSplit's in LA. No, not yet. Okay. I could be wrong though. I don't follow them religiously, but yeah, PadSplit, the main difference is sort of, I'd say, like neighborhood class. So we're sort of a kind of a B neighborhood class approach. Our tenants have substantially higher credit scores. We do, you can see the home behind me. It has like a living room and a kitchen. So it's a bit longer stays, a bit nicer experience. And PadSplit is typically a little shorter term stays. They don't have common areas. So their yields are a bit higher. We think it's slightly more risky potentially. So kind of the difference between a B and a C kind of investment property.
Wow, that's really cool. I just know about PadSplit from Pace Morby. I saw them on one of the videos. Very interesting, man. So can you tell, let's say I'm an investor who's listening to the show right now, and I'm like, hey, I got a long-term rental in, Costa Mesa, and it's not even breaking even. So, but it's got 4 bedrooms. How does that work? Should I call you, or how does it work?
Oh, we're not quite in Costa Mesa yet, so I'm sorry to break that.
You know what? The show's done.
Sorry, man. I apologize. Yeah, so let's say you're in a market that we're in, or in Costa Mesa in 3 months because you pressured me into it. So you would give us a call. You talk to our team. We would analyze the property. We have a proprietary data set on room pricing, as well as kind of roommate demand, so we can kind of predict that and how well you'll do. Sort of like AirDNA for short-term rentals. There's not tools for that for roommate rentals. So both PadSplit and us have sort of built our own tools to do that. So then we would tell you if it's a good idea or not. We talk through the kind of the unique parts of having roommate rentals, and we would get your property on the platform. So it's pretty simple. We'll generally tell people don't do it. It's not going to help you, or we'll say, hey, it'll really help you. Just like Airbnbs, right? Some homes you're going to just crush, and some homes you're going to do about the same. And if it's about the same, it may not be worth kind of the upfront investment.
That's pretty cool. Right now I guess I am doing a home room or a PadSplit on my place. I have one Airbnb guy who's living with me, and I think he's here for like 3 months. And then I have a long-term rental buddy who lives with me too. So that's how I help pay for my mortgage, which is like $7,000 crazy.
Nice, man. Yeah, a little house hacking.
You were saying, John, you were saying it's 50% above. Is that a normal furnished rental income, or is that like long-term 12-month lease income?
Yeah, single family home. We don't furnish the rooms. We'll kind of like do some light stuff to the common areas to kind of create a bit of more of a community environment. But we don't furnish the whole house. So it's really
it's
like
rented unfurnished.
Correct. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Good, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's like very low maintenance. Okay.
So if we have a house, let's say, I don't know, what markets are you guys in? Do you in any California markets or no?
No, I don't actually. I don't think there are any players in California yet. Although as a California kid, I'd love to be here. So it's something that as we fine tune the model, I think it's inevitable that both PadSplit and us will be in California. Yeah. So we're in Midwest and the South. That's really our spots. Texas as well.
So let's say Texas, and then I call you with my property in Houston or whatever, and then you look at it and then say, okay, you can get $2,500 on the market, but if you give it to us, after all the management fees and all your cut, you will pay us roughly $4,000 to $5,000 almost twice.
Or I'd have to look at I don't know. I think that sounds like it's a double and not so I don't think it would be quite that good. And we would have to look at, we'd have to look at the area, look at the.
Oh, I see. 50%. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's making $2,000, you can do $3,000 then.
Yeah, that's kind of like what we're typically targeting. And we've seen it up to 100%, but we don't want to put that out there too much because that's kind of like the special one, and you don't want to advertise the special one because then people get disappointed.
Sure. Yeah. Under promise, over deliver. That's cool. How does the process work? And you don't have to answer what you don't want to answer, but as a business owner and as a like furnished rental host, I'm kind of curious as to look under the hood of exactly how your business model works. I don't even know what to ask at this point, but I'm going to let you just take the floor and tell me how does it work on your end, and how does it work on, say, someone like us if we're going to be your client?
So how we make money and how you guys would make money?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So it's pretty much for a property manager. It's very similar to property management, right? So you've got, we're going to make a take on rent, which will be more than a standard single family operator because it is harder to operate these bad boys. We're also going to make some maintenance. If you choose to do maintenance through us, you don't have to. We will welcome other people to do their own maintenance or their
different
own
levels of packages. One comes with maintenance, or maybe. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. And so then in addition to that, like we have lease up fees, just similar to single family rental lease up fees. And that is about it. So, and then you'll make just like a single family rental kind of property manager will distribute you the net, like they'll collect the total rent and then they'll distribute you the money net of the monthly management fee minus the maintenance and minus the lease up fees if there are any that month.
Got it. And what's the average turnover for a guest?
The average turnover cost or length of stay?
You know what? Actually, both.
Length of stay is 12 months plus. Average turnover fee is usually covered by the deposit, but a couple $100 maybe. If
how many different tiers or packages are there to choose from?
It's really self-serve and like full service, right? We're going to do the leasing and we're going to do kind of the roommate mediation always. And the property management aspect, which is really like the turns and it's the maintenance and all that, that's optional. You can either do that yourself or you can have us do it. Right. So it's basically, do you want a roommate? It's like, do you want Airbnb or do you want Airbnb and Vacasa? Like, so you get to choose kind of between those two.
Airbnb and, sorry, what was that?
Vacasa is a property manager for short-term rentals. So if you want it fully passive and not do anything, we allow that.
Oh, and you do that as well. Nice. That's cool. And is that just like, is the only figure just the percentage you're taking from the monthly revenue or?
Yeah. So we're going to take percentage of your rent collected. And yeah, that's the figure. And then we'll mark up utilities a little bit. And then we charge for lease ups when a tenant turns and we have to get a new tenant in there.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Nice.
Yeah. That is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I want listeners to pay attention. So right now is what Johnny's saying is, people always complain like, market's too hot and, interest is too high, or you can't find the deal. Something's always going on and people don't want to get in, right? So right now, if you're looking, you're listening, and then you're like, markets, the PITI on the place is 3,500, but long-term rents are only 2,800. It's not going to make sense. But what you're saying, with this model, you might be able to break even or even make some money on it. This model. So these are the creative ways, one can actually get into the game, with the very less leverage. In fact, you can live in one and house hack it, buy it for 5% down, $1 million property, 50 grand in, and the other 3 rooms might pay the entire mortgage. Now you went from, paying 2 grand in rent to owning an asset and living for free, and you can save 25 grand a year. Your life changes within like 2 years. That's crazy. Now, I'm just curious to see, Johnny, do you participate in any of these things and also try to house hack and own assets, or are you primarily just focused on building the business?
Yeah, I mean, I have a number of homes on the platform. The first few that we had were actually my homes that I purchased in Austin and Kansas City. So yeah, we have a number of properties on the HomeRoom platform today. Running a company, it's a little bit harder to spend the time I used to spend on like finding deals and analyzing the market for myself, because we're doing it at like a larger scale for our customers. So that kind of makes me sad that I'm just so busy running a real estate company that I don't have as much time to do real estate.
Wow, that's interesting. So how did you get started? Like we usually like to go to see, most of the listeners and also people who come on the show, didn't start with a lot of money. And it's always a cool story like, oh, I got this, 5 grand here, 10 grand. And then he's got started. Like, how did you get started?
Yeah, 5-10 grand. That's exactly right. I got a bonus I got my first job out of college. I got like a bonus at work, and I think I got like 5 or 6 grand or something like that. And a friend of mine was going to buy a house in Midland, Texas, where Friday Night Lights is filmed, and it didn't sound like that good of an idea, but he convinced me, and so I bought his first year out of school. I bought a half of this single family home, and it was like more a learning experience than like a super profitable endeavor. But I started to analyze real estate a lot more. Started to think about it more, and I ended up buying a number of other properties in Texas over the years between 2008 to 2015. And by then I decided I was ready to kind of like take the leap and move to Austin and invest a lot more seriously. So you're right. It always starts with like a little bit of money and just kind of like a lot of leverage, most likely.
Yeah, that's so good to hear, because a lot of people these days I meet, they always say, oh, you guys have all this money, it's easy to buy the next property. When we first bought our property, Drew had 20 grand, and we were in our 30s, and we were like, oh, we're killing it. All we had to our name. He had 20 grand, I had 20 grand.
That's it. 20 grand. Most of that was pure cash in a safe, by the way.
Yeah, it wasn't even a safe. It was under his bed. It was bad. So he had 20 grand, I had 20 grand, and that's all the money we had. Like our net worth was 40 grand. We bought this property, and then and we had $0 in the bank, right? So, that's how we started. It was a $250,000 triplex in Bakersfield, right? We sold that property last year for a $200,000 profit. It's just, 4 years we held on to it. It didn't make a lot of cash flow, whatever. It's a tough property. It was a D neighborhood for sure. But, you can always start, So you started with that. You bought the $5,000. You got that one, and then how many units do you have right now?
15, right, and those are between Kansas City and Austin.
Nice, man.
I ended up selling a lot of my properties to fund HomeRoom to start it. I used to have more Austin properties, which is kind of a bummer. But I had to sell a couple, and I sold my properties in Midland to kind of start the company. So software's development is expensive, my friend.
Do you have any questions?
You're developing your own software within that company. So that's how new and niche this whole thing is what it sounded like to me. Is that right?
Yeah, there's not an AirDNA or an Airbnb for this approach, right? So we build our own software. So does PadSplit.
What's a typical all day, we can definitely do this kind of home? Is it a single family home with 4 or 5 bedrooms? Can it be a duplex with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths in Tennessee? We just, by the way, bought a duplex, literally in Nashville. So,
Nice.
But yeah, I'm just kind of curious. What's like a home run for you? What's the win-win, for you?
Yeah, I think the probably the form factor that we have 3 products, right? So we have sort of like a product if you don't, you have the 4 or 5 bedroom home, like kind of like what you're describing, and that will get you marginally better cash flow than kind of a standard single family rental. We have a full flip product where we'll actually find off market deals with you and help you get financing. And then that's actually probably the biggest money maker, but you have to have the kind of the biggest, it's heavier and it takes longer, right? As you guys know. But the down the middle product we have is we're going to buy a property in the MLS. It'll be like 1,500 to 2,200 square feet. We'll convert some spaces to add bedrooms. So it'll go from maybe a 4-bedroom to a 6-bedroom. And that incremental kind of additional space will create additional cash flow, right? So you have to invest some money upfront in construction. Our team will manage it for you. And so that'll be taken care of, as well as the property setup. So that's kind of the tried and true method that most of our investors have in their portfolio today. We're starting to do the heavier flip thing. And we've had a lot of success with that over the last 3 to 6 months. So we think that product may overtake the kind of our standard offering over time, just because the ROI is so much better. But for now, it's still kind of that 4-bedroom turning it into a 6-bedroom property.
Can you walk me through what you said as that second option? Did I get this right, that you're flipping the home?
Yeah, we're doing a flip to roommate rental property, right? So we'll find an off market deal that's pretty distressed in an area that shows good potential for roommate rentals. And then we'll do kind of like a remote flip on the behalf of the investor, right? So the investor can buy in cash and refi out, or they can do hard money, kind of either way, right? And in terms of the funding for the rehab, right? And then we'll do the rehab. We have crews in every city that we're in. And so we had an investor that ended up, making 70, he ended up basically putting no cash in to buying basically a BRRRR. It wasn't like the old BRRRR where you'd be able to pull out so much cash you could go buy another property, but he ended up basically not spending any money to get into the property. So that's a pretty exciting new option that we're rolling out. We had to get a bit more data and a bit more houses before we felt comfortable having people deploy a few $100,000 up front. But we're feeling pretty good about that now, especially as we're seeing the results.
And after the flip, are you obviously suggesting, oh, by the way, now we can help you manage it and get roommates in there and get you maybe even cash flow on top of the mortgage? Is it like a whole package thing? Yeah,
it is.
Okay. It's just so unique. Yeah. I'm like trying to keep track of what's happening on your business. Like, okay, he's flipping now and there's another thing.
Yeah. The classic model, we come in and we do some construction. It costs like $20,000 maybe. All right. But we found that, if you do a full flip rehab and you're gutting it, you can grab equity value, and then you can actually get that. You can actually customize the property even better for roommate rentals, right? So it makes the property ideal. Whereas if you buy a home and kind of like Jimmy rig it, which is then it does really well, but not quite as well. So I think that's kind of the evolution of what we're doing now, which is actually pretty cool.
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah. You kind of almost fell into it because you were like, well, we're slapping and adding on bedrooms. Might as well just go for the full thing. Yeah.
Let's do the full flip. We're going to do construction and then we can pull the money out and have the construction be done for free. It seems like a much better deal. So we're really bullish on that. We've seen a few flips go through and people they love that product. So we're excited for that for this year and next year.
Wow.
How do you structure the deals? Do you ever do any equity sharing, partnering with the clients, or you just come in like a third party management?
Yeah, we're just third party managers. We don't do any equity structuring in properties. It's a good question though.
That's cool, man. That's still a really good model. Nice. So how many units do you guys have under management right now? Properties.
1,200. I think it's 1,237. I'd have to double check, but yeah, 12 in the 12s right now.
Oh, that's a lot of units.
Yeah.
Is that bedrooms or is that like units?
Yeah, it's bedrooms.
Bedrooms.
Yeah, it's bedrooms.
That's a lot. Wow.
So you literally,
man. A lot of roommates.
yeah. So you literally
like a little city.
Yeah, so you're literally managing 1,300 people right now.
Yep.
Yeah. It's across multiple states. Good times.
But I mean, providing this, home unfurnished, an average of 12 months plus leases, it's probably not that intensive of, in terms of labor once they're in. It almost should be kind of set, forget it. Obviously, there's things that break, and there's also the added, I don't know if I want to say risk, but contingency of there's the shared spaces. Like, what are some of the common maybe issues or things that kind of you guys just know, like this is just an issue that is unique to this model and not to anything else, and this is how we deal with it? Is there something like that? Have you thought about investing in real estate and taking advantage of all of those benefits without any of the work? That is something that OnV Invest not only provides, but has been providing since its inception. With friends and family, we have built an empire in a system of a wealth generating tool that is giving us and our friends and family that leverage in their life to create true wealth. Go to onvinvest.com for more to see if you qualify. And thanks for listening. What are some of the common maybe issues or things that kind of you guys just know, like this is just an issue that is unique to this model and not to anything else, and this is how we deal with it? Is there something like that?
Yeah, I mean, like, any of these kind of like models that kind of like increase yield and maximize space or use in unique ways, there's unique complexities, right? And definitely that exists with roommates, right? So you have roommate issues where one of the roommates doesn't like the other roommate, and so we actually offer mediation for that. You have issues, just like the standard college stuff where like someone isn't clean and someone is really clean, and so there's tension there. So this is all part of what HomeRoom offers to investors. Like, it's not something that an investor would ever have to think about. It's like we just kind of are in the background. We have a support team that just handles kind of like roommate drama. I think roommate drama is the category of the unique challenges of this model. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking, just people and the messiness that is dealing with people. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. And like some of the people know each other going in.
Do you have like a referral program?
For roommates or for investors?
Shoot, I guess, yeah, for both. I was just thinking roommates, just because I feel like I'd make it maybe easier. It's like a win-win. It's like they bring in a person, there's a little discount for them, and it's their buddy, so there's likely less problems. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, we do have a roommate referral plan program, and if you bring in somebody in, or some of our roommates will like go on Facebook Marketplace and find people to bring them in, because they like to make a little bit of money. So
sure, yeah,
we definitely have that. We have groups that'll join our homes all the time, so it's pretty cool.
Wow, it's interesting. And so, how are you creating that extra spread then? If anyone can just do this, like I can just buy a home, I can just advertise, the different rooms vacant on my own. Is that the value that you're providing? It's like, I'm taking that off your hands. You don't have to do any of that. You have to manage any of that. You don't have to interview tenants. It's just set it, forget it. Or are you getting premium rents?
I think the supply side is I think in the legal and compliance and kind of I think those pieces are, you could do Airbnb off Airbnb, but like, would you want to? And some people do, right? But like, you've got, what I found is that people can do this model, and I did it myself without kind of like, and I thought I was good at it, but we've advanced substantially over the last 5 to 7 years since I started doing it myself, where I thought I was pretty good. We have a legal team that reviews the agreements. So it removes there's these edge cases of roommate issue risk. There's edge cases of eviction risk in a roommate shared home that most people aren't thinking about, but does happen, right? In addition to that, we have like a team of 20 on our leasing squad, right? And like, growth marketers and stuff. So we're going to have a lot more volume coming through, getting you leases quicker. And, our leasing team's really well trained. And so, a lot of the times, we're just going to be able to do stuff a bit faster than other people and just a bit better and a lot safer for you from a risk standpoint. So it's all those things. And then finding roommates can be a big chore. Sometimes it's super easy, barely an inconvenience, right? But sometimes you're really busy and like, it's just, you don't want to do it, right? And it happens on a recurring basis, right? You have 6 roommates. Everyone stays a year. That means you have to do it every 2 months, right? Do you want to do it every 2 months, right? So like some people, the answer would be yes, but how many homes can you have and run it like this? It becomes very difficult to scale.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little edge reasons for why I have all my homes on HomeRoom instead of like running it myself, because I just, I don't want to put the time in, but I could obviously make more money. So
got it. That makes sense. So it's time for money. Yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Vince, you got anything?
Yeah.
So what's the next, man? What's the next for you guys? Are you trying to pick up another 1,300 units, or are you trying to buy your 16th property?
Yeah, I mean, I think our goal. I think I'm still really focused on HomeRoom. I think we're looking at expanding additional markets. Apparently, we have to get to Costa Mesa pretty soon. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. But yeah, so I'm really heads down focused on kind of developing the platform that is HomeRoom, right?
If you need some good contacts, sorry to interrupt, Johnny, but if you need some good contacts, like GCs, handymen, vendors for everything, I could just literally forward you my Rolodex and it'll be like your rock star team right away. So
nice, man. Wait, in what area?
Name it. I'm running 8 Airbnbs in Orange County. Like,
jeez.
So, so it's like, cleaners, general contractors, tons of handymen. I do Inland Empire as well. Anyways, yeah, so we have, everything. I could get plumbers, guys who just do like mini splits, and guys who just do this. I got it. Yeah, a pretty extensive list. I feel like the GCs might be more of like what would give you more value, but yeah.
Probably at the front end, and then ongoing, the vendor list is like gold. So I appreciate that. All right. So you guys are mostly short-term rental focused, and that's kind of like, or are you guys a mix
short
of long-term and short-term? Short and medium?
Short and medium. Yeah. I'm really into like 30-day stays. I found that after running the math on it and like looking at the cleaner fees and all this, it's kind of almost the same. And also with all the municipalities cracking down, it's just like, all right, yeah, no worries, cool. We'll play ball. 30 days minimum, 31 days minimum. It's fine. So yeah, that's been more of the evolution of how we've kind of evolved and done our thing. It's going pretty good.
Have you guys kind of felt like, how is the mid short term kind of like ecosystem? That's something that like intrigues me, but I'm not super connected to. Like, are you guys feeling like this is? I know there's been a bit more pressure and a bit more eyeballs on it lately, but I only know that based on like chatter from kind of our real estate community. Is it feeling like a model that is getting harder to do, or is it getting easier because you guys are getting better at it? Like, how are you feeling about it generally?
Which model specific?
Short term, midterm. I think both, I guess.
I'll comment, on individual basis. For the short term, I will say this, and we literally just talked to Tony Robbins, who's
Robinson.
Tony Robinson, who's like, like the short term. Yeah, he's like, what? Yeah, sorry.
I was like, that's pretty incredible.
Not yet. We're getting. All right. Money Mastery. That was a pretty good book. But yeah, so we talked to him, and it's funny because we were kind of almost sharing kind of some of the same woes and kind of, I don't know, as the economy does its thing and Airbnb becomes, I feel like the word Airbnb has done a lot of changing and evolving in many ways, in that it became the Kleenex of just furnished rentals. It still is where I get most of my bookings, and that's 30-day plus. That's 3 days, depending on where I'm at in the market. It's also evolved in that it's become like a very sexy, like, I remember in like 04, 05, when I first moved to the state, everyone was getting their real estate license. you could just like walk into real estate and you were making money. You know, I had college classmates of mine with watches, you know, because real estate was like the thing. And then 08 happened, right? And it caught everybody. Anyways, in a similar way, I kind of see that coming with Airbnb, and that it's just this hot thing. It's just like everyone knows, I could go in and just make some money, when very few people actually can, because it's very management intensive. It's hospitality. Sure. There's a lot of moving parts all at once, not just getting an amazing team. That's a good start. But then there's software, then there's people skills. Then there's just, I'm literally creating like at least 5 SOPs a day right now on just little things that come up. I'm like, oh, somebody didn't know they were supposed to check out today. All their stuff is all over the unit. How do you handle that? And so I just made a whole SOP on that. That literally happened today, by the way. So I'll have to go check my phone, make sure I handle that later.
Hopefully
right? It's a lot. And on the opposite end, Airbnb is also in municipalities in most cities and counties become the dirtiest word. Everyone hates it. It's got a lot of flack. And I understand, you know, some stranger in my town, these kids who are partying. Obviously, as hosts, we don't want that. We don't want partiers. We don't want sketchy people. But see, I think people are not, you know, the Karens of the world, dare I say that, are not understanding that it's actually based on a vetted, like reviewing those people. Everyone's reviewed, both host and guest, and gives me so much confidence. And Sarah Weaver, who's like one of the leaders in this game, so much confidence that it's like, yeah, I don't background check them. I don't send them leases. Just Airbnb handles it. Right. Which is what makes it worth the fee. And I have the same philosophy, especially after that podcast we did with her. So anyways, I'm kind of going off, and I want to make this more about you. Sorry about that. But
that's cool, man. I'm interested.
Yeah. The short-term game, super active, very profitable, but becoming less and less so. I'm really having every single day to adjust my prices on top of having Price Labs do it every day as well. I really got to be on it. Granted, we're kind of dipping down a little bit it slows down right about next month or so. So I'm already kind of seeing that. Point is that's going well, but I feel like it's just a matter of it's just a clock on every municipality that it's just going to not be a thing. Be cracked down super hard. And so you just got to make that switch. And I think those who jump over to that midterm stay earlier than later will actually be the big winners in the game, be more established. On top of that, there's now a lot of insurance companies, also kind of the niche. And I don't know if it's, you know, that new, but it's definitely becoming more of a hot topic in that there's insurance agencies reaching out to me. There's corporate housing agents that are reaching out to me and saying, hey, we saw your rental on Zillow. Really like it. We like what you did with it. We've got a guest whose house is flooded. She's got 2 dogs. What can you do for us? And they're offering typically double what you normally get on a furnished unit. So we're navigating that right now. We've come very close on a couple, but essentially that's kind of been our big move. I'm sorry, I'm kind of totally going on tangents, but essentially I think,
man. It's really, really interesting.
I think midterm is going to be the only real way to do a furnished rental in due time. Just a matter of time.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
What a transition.
Yeah. It's a lot
going on. Because one of our agents in Dallas, who's been with us for a while, he's all about the Airbnb midterm, long-term fusion. It gives you a lot of options. And yeah, I've always said a little bit of pause about Airbnb. And I think probably the same cycle will eventually happen in like room by room rentals, right? But I think we're earlier in the game there, right? PadSplit is still below 10,000 units, and we're
catching up,
really far behind them, but we're catching up, right? I like that. I like that optimism.
Yeah, half full.
And yeah, exactly. So it's still probably, you know, what is it at? Maybe in the low single digit percentages in terms of market saturation. So I think it's just a little earlier on that kind of growth. But eventually, right, if we survive and PadSplit survives and a few others survive, and there may be some market consolidation there, but other competitors will emerge, and eventually it'll be the same kind of thing, right? But ideally we'll have less city issues because our tenants are, 6 months, year long
Yep.
stays. But so that's helpful. But it's,
Yeah.
it's sort of about catching like things at the right time, is like maybe they've matured enough to be solid. Cause I think really, really early Airbnb was just chaos and like probably not a great investment. But then there was a point when it kind of got to stability, and then it was like a nice run for people. And then, then you have to adapt and do the next thing, which sounds like you guys are doing really nicely. So
Yeah. Trying to make that move now rather than later, man. Sorry, I kind of been taking over the room. Vince, do you have anything to?
No, it's good conversation. I always try to get the max from the guests. I think for your business, dude, I wouldn't be worried because I do a lot of forecasting and try to go to different events and meet with people who are way smarter than me. The way I see it is, things are always going to get more expensive. People are going to get strung out. Taxes are going to go up. Inflation is going to go up. What is it going to do? They're going to want to rent by the room because they can't afford the whole house. So your business, I would say, is going to 10x in like the next 10 years easily if you keep going, because like you said, you're barely there, right? There's so many Airbnbs. You guys have 12,000 units together. That's nothing. 12,000 roommates, not even units, right? So it's like so small. So you can always keep capitalizing. I like your model better than PadSplit, because PadSplits looks like they are in C neighborhoods, and we started in C neighborhoods. Nothing against C neighborhoods, but right now
I have everything against C neighborhoods.
nothing against C neighborhoods.
It only takes like a couple of years to have a lot against C neighborhoods.
I know. So
Atticus is a friend, and they're good at C neighborhoods. So I'll give them some credit. But yeah, it's harder for if you've been there and you've done it yourself. It's hard memories, right? Or tried.
No, we that's where we started. We're not saying, if you do C neighborhoods, you're a loser. I'm just saying, we started there too, but it's totally a waste of our time right now because we just understand the value of our time, right? I don't have time to go talk to the tenant and be like, hey, my cat ate the money. So, I lost it in the mail. I don't care. Like, I just don't care. I don't have time. So I want to have the tenant who's going to school and, his mom has a job or his dad has a job, like I'm trying to help people who are trying to come up. I don't have time to kind of like, give free lunches and stuff like that. So in that regard, you're already in B neighborhoods, which is good. And, you're helping working class Americans save money and maybe even put down, save some money and buy a property for themselves, Yeah,
we had one of our first 10 roommates. She lived with us for 4 years. I was actually writing our update to our investor. She lived with us for 4 years, and she just moved out and bought her own house. And it was like, and I actually met her back. She was like, she was part of the early days in Kansas City, and I like gave her tours personally around the neighborhood. Yeah. So, and I sent her a housewarming gift for a new place. So it was pretty cool. Like that was sort of the dream of HomeRoom, was like, good investor returns, but also like help, up and coming folks save money so they can buy a house, essentially.
That's great, man. Yeah, you're essentially providing them all the tools without all the headaches of, easy house hacking of like, yeah, that's great. I really love what you got going on, man.
Yeah, even my I have a roommate actually, and he's just works in a restaurant, and he stayed with me as a roommate for 3 years. Now he's saved enough money, so he's actually the next property we buy in Tennessee, he will actually be a partner, and he will own equity in that deal.
Yeah,
and that's just
nice,
like because we like to go together and buy stuff together and own as friends, right? If I'm spending time with you and you're my friend, if we can't buy like businesses and homes together, I don't want to be a friend. I don't have time. Like it's a waste of my time, right? So I want to be like a community. So that's kind of cool that you can,
Yeah. I'm a little bit less extreme for me. Unless someone's very forward thinking, it's like, we're not going to have a good time anyway. Like I'm just in a different mindset where if you're going to gossip about your brothers, sisters, whatever, like I've already checked out. I'm already thinking about the next like business idea that I might have to kill because I have a business idea every day, like a serial entrepreneur. So I get where you're coming from.
And those.
Yeah. And I love that you've got something that's really niche. It's really early in the game. And I do agree with Vince in that, the way the economy is moving, I don't see how you're not going to grow if you just keep showing up and putting in the work. I'm kind of curious as to, if do you have a separate branch or marketing solution, or maybe I'm overthinking this, but I'm thinking maybe, and I'm on a lot of forums on Facebook, by the way, which is where I've met some of these insurance people. So I'm seeing a lot of gripes about, hey, like I hate Airbnb. I'm over it. Like the support's not on my side and people suck and they're just terrible at by the way, it's just a business. That's very normal. Like most people are going to fail.
Yeah.
Do you have a strategy of maybe taking those in and keeping them furnished and then using your same business model with that? I feel like you'd get even more premium rents. Would you not?
Yeah, the Airbnb conversion is interesting. It's something that we have been discussing for a while. We never pulled the trigger on it because we typically we build the investment from the ground up, right? We acquire it and it's purchased in that location for those reasons.
Right.
But especially as Airbnb starts to get to a point of like increased saturation and dissatisfaction with owners, they already have the furniture in there.
Yeah.
It starts to get really appealing. So yeah, it's something that we're certainly going to take a run at in the next 18 months. Right. And I think it'll get more and more opportunities. The roommate house is a different house a lot of times than the Airbnb house, right? Usually Airbnb, a bit more central, right? But there is overlap where if you take an Airbnb, convert to a single family home, you'll get X, and you get converted to a roommate house, you'll get much more, right? So going after those homes is something we'd really like to do. And so that's probably going to be kind of in our next growth plans in 2024-ish.
Yeah, it should be.
We've been in discussions about this since like 2020, and we really liked the approach we were taking, right? Just building the home for this approach. But the more I hear about, the more Airbnb stuff I hear, the more I'm like, okay, I think it's finally time for us to really push on that. So
there's just so much turn happening in a way that would stand to benefit a business like yours. That, I mean, it's adding like another branch to your already solid business model, but it's not that much of a change. I feel like I don't know how you want to run or structure like purchasing it, or I don't know how you want to do it. Maybe it's arbitrage, but yeah, there's a good opportunity because there's a lot of terrible hosts out there. There's a lot of new hosts. There's a lot of people who I remember I stayed in Dallas last July and the guy had there's this massive stain on the carpet and just like a random TV and just a bed. And it was like, the location was insane. It was like a 3-level place with a rooftop, but you could tell like it was not like he just kind of threw it together. It's almost like a pack and play for Airbnb. I think he had the same IKEA photo or like faux painting on like 4 different walls. I was just laughing. I was like, it's fine, whatever works. But you could tell like, he was just kind of phoning it in, and maybe he's hired a company who just cheaped out. I don't know. But the point is I've stayed in a lot of Airbnbs from my own research, but also I personally am just a consumer that enjoys an Airbnb over a hotel. I like that more homey feel. I like to have a fridge and just, I don't know. That's just me. Yeah, but it's as a host now, I can go in and be like, oh, this is great. I need to steal this idea. This guy's on to something. And it can be something as simple as just like, I don't know, some fake books. It makes a difference, fake books. Yes, I know it's crazy, but like I've started putting fake books in my places, or real books actually. And so there's these little things that I'll like kind of learn from, but I'd say the majority of the time, not to toot my own horn, I'm usually like, oh, dude, how's the bathroom dirty? Like what? Staying in Phoenix, I remember I walked in and like it looked like a vendor was trying to change something and like just left midway through, and there's just like dirt all over the sink. I reach out, I'm getting no response. So all that's to say is that's all just pure opportunity. In the same way, cat piss is opportunity for us. When you walk a home, bad hosts throwing up their hands is all you. I'd recommend joining some Facebook groups with Airbnb hosts and just watch. I mean, your demographics are already waiting and ready and complaining.
Hey, Johnny, I know you have to.
Good, man.
You got to get out of here, right?
I do. I do have an appointment. So, thank you for remembering. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. It was
You as well.
Super cool. I wish I had 8 Airbnbs in Orange County. So
yeah, it's a lot of work, but
We started in Bakersfield, don't forget.
Yes, we did. Yeah, and since you're in San Diego, seriously, don't be shy. I know we just met, but would love to just have a lunch with you. Would maybe be down there for beers and deals or whatever. And
we host monthly meetups too, man. It's called the same. It's called Already Social Meetup, and it's once a month. So come by,
Yep. Cool, man. Yeah, very intrigued. I would like to meet up if you guys are ever down here for sure. Yeah. And if I'm ever kind of up that way, I have a friend that I've been meaning to visit, and maybe I can make it work around that. So
I could literally give you free housing furnished.
Would it be short or midterm?
Oh, he got me there. Yeah. We're not cash flowing that hard yet, Johnny. We're not cash flowing.
All right, man. It's good. It's cool.
You get 3 nights max because you're Johnny.
Hey, how do listeners to get a hold of you, Johnny?
You can email me at johnny@livehomeroom.com. I'm happy to, house hacking, roommate rentals, co-living, all that stuff is kind of like my sweet spot. Happy to provide feedback if you're trying to do it yourself. You can also reach us at livehomeroom.com, and we have a way to schedule meetings with our team who helps set up homes, as well as book rooms if you're looking for a place to live. So that's how you do it.
Awesome. And then so a final note to any listener listening, if you've been on the fence thinking I can't afford to be a real estate investor, this right here, this guy might be your answer for real. House hack with him, get in the game, start building assets, or you will literally stay poor forever because you can't beat inflation in most jobs today. You just can't. You can't. So yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Johnny.
You got a house hack. Got to.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Really, I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben. See you next time.
I don't know about you, but I definitely like to see 5-star reviews on any service or any product before I purchase. Please take a second to leave us a 5-star review, whether you're listening to it on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, or whatever platform. Take a second, goes a long way, helps us a lot to grow the channel, and thanks for listening.